Hi everyone. Hi, Kafiso. You're quick to introduce yourself. My name is Shri Mazidi and
my name is Kagiso Morokoto.
And I'm bringing you guys with the wonderful Kagiso an episode on a hot topic that we all need to know about. And what is that, my dear?
Title deeds.
Ooh. So Kagiso, I want to talk a bit about you. So Kagiso is a real estate expert here in Botswana, and I do a lot of real estate deals in Canada. So coming from Canada, I want to know what's the story here. How is it different, and how does the whole real estate market here work? And what are the real estate laws here? So one of the ones that it all comes down to is the actual title deed. So let's start there.
So, thank you so much, by the way. I never spotted it. I look even more handsome in this camera. Anyway,
he's confident. That's good. Okay.
So, title deeds. I mean, we need to first unpack what having a title over a piece of land means.
Right.
And in Botswana, we've got three interests in land.
Okay.
The first one is one that's called leasehold.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is called tribal hold. And then the third one is called freehold. And all of these three, there is always responsibilities and obligations that the lessor or the lessee and the lessor have obligations towards each other on.
Can I just say one thing? Okay, so we have a lot of Botswana listeners out there. Is it okay if you also mention that in Gazetsuan?
Yeah, let's break it down.
Yeah. So because these are important points, and we want to educate our friends out there as well, so that they're
definitely. So as I said, before we unpack title deeds and what title deed types we have in Botswana, it's for us we need to understand what having a title over a piece of land means. And the interest in land in Botswana, the first one that you know is common Lehatsela Morafi, which is tribal land holds, where the people, the community, the indigenous community in that area has ownership over that land. So you'll be having, you're going to be leasing the land from them. And then you've got leasehold, which is commonly with state. And your responsibility, your obligation is towards the state. The ones that we know in Botswana is commonly in cities, Gaborone. We've got alien land that sometimes even outside our borders, such as high commissions, that is leasehold, that is owned by the government. Our national game reserves are owned by government. They are leasehold, are free state grants.
So that when you say state-owned, that's Ministry of Lands we're talking
Ministry
about?
Of Lands.
Or Ministry of Housing?
Ministry of Lands, Water and Sanitation Services.
Excellent.
And then the third one is called freehold. Freehold used to be commonly known pre-colonial times and post-colonial times. It used to be called crown land.
That's what they call it in Canada. Actually.
Is it?
Wow. It's crown land, freehold. Okay.
Is it? So
because it belongs to the Queen.
Oh God!
Crown, right? The British term there.
Is it?
Yeah.
So in Botswana we call it freehold, but it comes from the term crown land, and it is land we used to give to thank the missionaries, the people who came and contributed to our economy. Pre-colonial time, pre-independence, and so the ownership there are different ownerships, and then that is what having title over land means. There are three interests in land.
So question, because in Canada we have freehold, we have leasehold, we also have co-op. Co-op, which is a type of title deeds where it's a shareholder concept. So I haven't heard that here, so that doesn't exist here.
What we have here is in property management. We normally call it in property management investment. We call it share blocks. Is where you've got like a big building and you all own the piece, but you own it through shares.
So that may be the co-op. Is that though the title, or the title generally won't take that?
Generally, the title won't take that. However, if you go deeper into types of title, you've got something called sectional scheme titles. Is where you have a piece, you own a piece in a piece of property. That is the section that is yours, and you all in this piece of land have.
So that's called a strata. In Canada, they call that a strata. Do they call that here?
Educate me. I don't know that.
Okay, so strata means like, let's say there's an apartment building and there's a lot of common areas. So who's going to pay for electricity in the common areas, right? Or who's going to pay for the garbage removal in the common areas, or the security? So that's where the title deed is called a strata title. And then you don't know? Okay. Hey, listen, we're learning from each other. I don't know about tribal title, so you got to tell me about strata title. But I just wanted to say, so what is that, the equivalent of that
The
called?
equivalent of that here is called sectional titles. Sectional title is where you own a section in a suppose you have a big farm, and it's in the sprout of the city, and you want
and you share common area.
And then you share common area, maybe the road, the gardens, the swimming pool. Become Louisville around here have such arrangements where they build quite good estates and then they sell them on section. And then if you don't do it, if you are building a high rise, you have what your ownership there is called share block, like I was telling you.
Share block,
where you can build and say it's called Morocco's properties. The building is called Morocco's properties.
But each individual unit is owned by individuals, and each one of them contributes to the maintenance of the common grounds.
And they are shareholders by issue of share block. That is how it is. But going back to issue of title deeds and titles. So we've spoken about freehold. Freehold is land that you own in perpetuity. Now we're moving to the land tenure systems in Botswana. There's interest in land, and then we've got now the land tenure systems in Botswana. Meaning, how long can you hold on to these? I'm going to start with freehold or
But freehold should be till infinity.
Yes, it is. So with freehold land, as much as you've got responsibility, the state has certain responsibility towards you. For instance, if you're going to do mining in that area, there's Mining Rights Act that has to control how you do the mining. As much as you own the land in perpetuity.
For residential.
Yeah, you need to first then qualify those with other regulations that are there. There's a building control code, the zoning, and what you call.
Gotcha.
And I mean, sometimes it even goes deeper to zoning by density, volume, or height. So that is that. The freehold is where you own the land in perpetuity as long as you have the title.
Excellent.
And we're going to talk about what having title is also in Botswana.
Yeah.
Because people usually confuse what owning a piece of land means to what they think they can.
Because I've seen a confusion here where people have paper and they say it's a leasehold and I got to turn the leasehold to a title.
Yes.
There's this confusion of, okay, so you can have a title and that title is a leasehold.
Yes.
Or you can have a leasehold paper and it's just a leasehold paper with the landlord of that village. So that part I'm really confused. You know?
Yes, we're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna help me.
So we know the interest in land now.
Okay.
We now talking about the land tenure systems.
Right.
So with freehold land, you own it in perpetuity as long as you have the title. You're the title holder.
Okay.
And then we've got leasehold, which is commonly tribal land. And with tribal land, it's owned by different communities. We've got about 8 different jurisdictions in Botswana. There's Vanuatu, Gauteng, Tawana, all of those. All of those tribal authorities have different interests in that land, and they have different ways in which they want to control that.
Right.
Even though they report to the Ministry of Lands, Water and Sanitation Services, they've got the way in which they, number one, they allocate the land, they service it, and the responsibility you have towards it. So and
to develop it by a certain time, right? Yeah.
And the use, it's leased land, meaning after you've consumed of it, the contract, the covenant that's in the lease says that you need to hand it back to the state.
But a lot of them I saw they're renewable.
They are renewable. However, we should always be careful. It's just that we're living in a free world where we always hope the government of the day will give it back. Remember, Botswana right now is about 56 years old, and most of the 50-year industrial leases have come for renewal. And of course, as is common, the government of Botswana doesn't have anything to do with it. So they are going to be handing it back to you. They're going to be renewing or extending your lease period. So in leasehold, there are 2 types of terms of lease. I mean, they're giving you meaning they're lending it to you for a certain period of time. So you get to enjoy ownership. You get to have the enjoyment of access, disposing, getting compulsory expropriation. If there is compensation of a form, you can build on it. You have the right to access, the right to enjoy and do anything.
Right.
So with leasehold, with residential property in Botswana, you're given the land for 99 years. So you can do anything you want on the land for 99 years. Enjoy it, build on it, sell it. I mean, that's what you can do. That's with residential. But whereas with industrial or commercial property, you only have a 50-year term with it. And that is in tribal land. And then we move on to state land. State land has quite homogeneous characteristics with tribal land. They also enjoy the land for 50 years if it's industrial, and then it's 99 years if it's a residential property.
Wow.
So that is the type of title tenure that you have of that piece of land. Now we've spoken about ownership, having title. Having title in Botswana means you've got the state or the guarantor or the person who's giving you the land gives you this piece of land for you to enjoy title, but you also have responsibility
To
develop. And in most of our leases and certificates, there is something called a covenant, a promise that a covenanter makes to a covenantee, something to do. Someone has to do the other.
An agreement.
An agreement, basically.
We're going to do this. And so just being mindful of time, and we're going to do another one on this. We've got a few minutes here,
all right.
but we could definitely continue this topic for sure.
So yeah, that's basically what having a title over land is. And ownership meaning that you've got the right to dispose, the right to enjoy, the right to destroy in a positive way, meaning you can erect something else, take whatever was on the fixed portion, take it out. You've got the right to compensation if maybe there is a servitude or an easement that's being applied for there. That is what land ownership is. That is in Botswana what having title is. And then you asked the question with 2 minutes left, guys. You asked the question about leases, certificate, and title deeds. See, the government of Botswana, the government of the day, I don't know what happens outside our jurisdiction, but for property to be bonded, for the property to be
guaranteed,
to be used as collateral or anything else, it needs a title deed. That's an assurance. That's an appendment of an assurance from the Attorney General or the deeds office to say we are indeed saying that this person is the title holder of this property. So long as it's a leasehold or certificate, the physical planning department, the town and country planning department.
But you've got issues where there's, I think, because the whole system has been electronified, or you can say put online. Let's use the correct term there. There are some situations where you've got duplicate title deeds with different. There's still some disputes happening. I'm seeing.
That is true. I mean, our allocation system in the 70s and the 60s was a bit casual. Most of that it was duplicate allocation. It was a scattered type of allocation where it's coming a long way. It is coming. Yeah, I mean, in the olden days, it used to be about how long you can walk to own a piece of land. If you are with the land board guys and you can walk that way and walk that way,
is that right?
And then that's yours. I mean, that's how the horses used to do it. Our chiefs used to allocate land that way.
Wow.
As long as you could get on a horse and ride there and come back and say that is my portion, my portion. That is yours. But that kind of then as people passed on and gave on, there was not proper succession in terms of who's taking over this, and there will always be land disputes and land claims to land.
Absolutely.
That is how we've got duplicate titles, and a lot of work has been put on our land tribunal authorities to try and settle such issues and reallocate land. So that is what has been happening.
Well, wonderful, Kagiso. I mean, I just want to listen to you more and more. But this is coming up to wrap. But I thank you greatly. You taught me a lot.
So much. Thank you so much.
And we look forward to seeing you soon.
I look forward to seeing everyone also too.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kagiso. Bye, everyone.
Bye.